Hello, Peter.
Back out of the way! I can't see! There are cars there, mother.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? ELT here. Welcome to the video, whether you're watching this video over on the ELT network or on my Spider-Man dedicated fan page, Amazing Fantasy 15. Thank you for watching this video. Be sure to subscribe to both channels, links below in the description, and be sure to hit the like button on this video. It's absolutely free of charge and it really helps me out a bunch. Today I am once again going to be talking about the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer that we got this past Monday. And I'm going to be talking about something in particular that I've been thinking about. And there's been a lot of talk about this going around social media. And that is that this movie, there's two possibilities that could happen with this movie that I see. Either one, this movie is going to be absolutely terrible. And it's going to be almost pretty much Disney Star Wars all over again, like with Rise of Skywalker. It's just a bunch of fan service, but it's not good fan service, it's garbage fan service. And this movie's absolutely ruined, and it gets crapped upon by everyone, whether it be MCU fans, Raimi fans, TASM fans. Everybody's going to end up hating this movie. Chances of that happening are quite possible. However, there is another possibility that this movie can be absolutely incredible. It is one of the most well-received Spider-Man movies of all time. It is beloved by Spider-Man fans, whether you're a fan from Spider-Man from the comics, whether you're a fan of Spider-Man from the Raimi films, whether you're a fan of Spider-Man from the TASM films, or whether you're a fan of Spider-Man from the MCU films. This film can be loved by all, and it could also correct a big, major problem that I have and that a lot of other people have with MCU Spider-Man. And that's really the topic of discussion of this video. There is one big, major problem that MCU Spider-Man has that this movie can fix, and that is that MCU Spider-Man, Tom Holland's Spider-Man, just doesn't feel like the classic comic book 616 Spider-Man. I know it's a different iteration of the character. We all know that, just like the other movies were. Raimi's Spider-Man wasn't completely ripped from the comics. However, it felt like classic Spider-Man. Same goes for Andrew Garfield's TASM Spider-Man. It wasn't exactly like comic book Spider-Man, but at least it felt like classic comic book Spider-Man. It was similar. See my hat over here? Spider-Man PS4 Insomniac Spider-Man is not exactly like the classic Spider-Man, but it feels like classic Spider-Man. Tom Holland's Spider-Man, on the other hand, they got off on the right foot, I believe, with Captain America Civil War when he made his debut. He was absolutely fantastic in that movie. However, since then, he really hasn't felt like classic comic book Spider-Man. You know, there's a lot of problems with the suits, the Stark Tech suits. You know, he got the Iron Spider that he's been wearing a lot. He had that Iron Spider suit on since Infinity War. Then he had it on again, obviously, in Endgame. He had the suit on at some points during Far From Home. He's wearing the suit again in No Way Home. If you watch the trailers, there's a lot of scenes with that Iron Spider suit on. Oh, but he had the Iron Spider in the comics. Yes, but still, though, that was just like mostly for Civil War in the comics and all that other stuff. He's just wearing it way too much, in my opinion, so far. And then all the suits, Stark Tech, the original red and blue Spider suit that was given to him by Tony Stark, that's Stark Tech. The upgraded suit that he made in Far From Home, again, that was made from Stark Tech. Everything has been Stark Tech when Spider-Man is supposed to be this... He's supposed to be like you and me. Lower, middle class, superhero, doesn't have much money. He does what he could do. This Spider-Man doesn't feel like that. He just feels like everything has been handed to him. He had Stark Tech all given to him. He has endless amounts of spending. It just doesn't feel like classic comic book Spider-Man. There have been some that debunked that, some that have rebutted that, but it is what it is. To me and to many other people, Tom Holland's Spider-Man doesn't feel like classic comic book Spider-Man. However, Spider-Man No Way Home can fix this problem if it does one thing. And this has been one thing that we have seen in the trailer so far. Of course, everything goes wrong, but by the end of this movie, they could reboot Spider-Man without rebooting Spider-Man, which is absolutely genius if they manage to pull this off. A reboot without an actual reboot happening. Without, starting all over from scratch, casting a new character, Spider-Man, and doing that whole thing again. This could actually be considered a soft reboot, as some people may say. So as we've seen in the No Way Home trailer, Peter goes to Doctor Strange to ask to undo what Mysterio did at the end of Far From Home, which is reveal his identity to the world. Everybody knows that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. Doctor Strange, at first, Wong's like, oh, don't do the spell. Strange's like, okay, no, I won't. But he's like, I'm going to do it anyway. Because there is no movie if he doesn't do that, right? He does the spell. Everybody's going to forget that you're Spider-Man. Peter's talking throughout the entire thing. Oh, but what about MJ? What about Aunt May? What about Ned? They also need to know. Spell goes wrong. Multiverse is opened up. And that's pretty much the main plot of the movie. We have Green Goblin from the Raimi films coming back. We have Doc Ock confirmed coming back. We have Elektra coming back. And then the rumors are Lizard and the other ones. Sandman has been thrown around over there. Rhino is a possibility. Mysterio coming back may also be a possibility. So pretty much a Sinister Six movie against the multiverse of Spider-Man, Tom, Tobey, and Andrew. Now, what this movie can do by the end of it, how it could fix what my problem is and what a lot of other people's problems are with MCU Spider-Man. Like I said, a soft reboot. A reboot without actually being a reboot. By the end of this movie, what needs to happen? Obviously, the Spider-Men come out on top. They defeat the Sinister Six. Doctor Strange sends them all back to their own universes. Villains, Spider-Man, Tobey, Andrew. They all go back to their own universes. He does the spell once again, to not only send them back, but to make everybody forget that he, being Tom Holland's Peter Parker, is Spider-Man. So that's how you could do a soft reboot, or like I say, a reboot without actually doing a reboot. Everybody forgets that he is Spider-Man, except, obviously, Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange is the only one that knows Peter Parker is Spider-Man, and obviously Peter Parker obviously knows that he's Spider-Man, but everybody else forgets. So we're talking all the people that have found out about it. Aunt May doesn't know that he's Spider-Man. MJ doesn't know that he's Spider-Man. Ned doesn't know that he's Spider-Man. Any of the other characters don't know that he's Spider-Man. I'm talking about the rest of the Avengers. They don't know that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. And here's the big one right over here. Happy Hogan, Pepper, and the now deceased Tony Stark. Nobody knows that he is Spider-Man. So what does that mean? Bye-bye to all the Stark tech. The Stark tech is gone. You can throw the Stark tech out the window. There is no Stark tech suit. There is no upgraded suit. There is no Iron Spider suit. All of that stuff is completely gone because they don't know that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. So what does that mean? That means that Tom Holland's Spider-Man is going to have to be like the classic 616 Spider-Man. He's going to have to create his own spider suit. Now, how is he going to do that? He already has his own homemade suit that we saw in Civil War with the sweatshirt and everything. However, with all this experience that he had with the Stark Tech, with all the experience that he had with Andrew and Tobey Spider-Man, he could look at their costumes and be like, okay, I can make my own costume similar to theirs. And that is how we get a much more classic red and blue Spider-Man costume made by Tom Holland's Peter Parker without any kind of Stark Tech. It is all completely 100% done by Peter Parker. He makes the suit, he makes the web shooters. It's just like the classic Spider-Man, and it's perfect. There is no complaint right there. He made his own suit, just like Tobey's Spider-Man made his own suit, just like Andrew's Spider-Man made his own suit, and nobody complained about that. Nobody said, wait a minute, how is Tobey going to make that suit? Wait a minute, how does Andrew Garfield manage to make those web shooters? It doesn't matter. Just like in the comic books, it doesn't matter. You could throw all that out the window. It doesn't matter. He manages. Peter Parker is supposed to be a brilliant character, so he can manage to actually make all of that stuff and make it look like a comic book accurate Spider-Man suit without the help of Stark Tech. And that is exactly what this movie can do. And that would be absolutely genius to have Tom Holland's Peter Parker be just like the classic comic book Spider-Man. He makes his own Spider-Man suit that looks like the Spider-Man suit, not the homemade suit. He makes his own web shooters. There's no Stark tech involved. There is no AI within the suit. That is all gone, thrown out the window. He has a suit that is just like Spider-Man PS4. But when you first start off the game, it's like a classic suit. He can make one just like that, maybe a couple of tweaks here and there, but it's all completely done by him. There is no Stark tech. There is no help from Happy Hogan. There is no guy in the chair with Ned. Aunt May doesn't know that he's Spider-Man, so we don't have that relationship going on anymore. Maybe somewhere down the line she could find out again and actually, instead of turning it into one big joke, maybe it could be similar to the comic books. Just saying. It's kind of a bit of a disappointment that Aunt May finding out that Peter Parker or Spider-Man was turned into a joke at the end of Homecoming. Never fully addressed in Far From Home. So they could actually erase all of that. Keep Tom Holland as Peter Parker / Spider-Man, because I do think that he does a pretty good job of what is given to him. He can be better. There is room for improvement, and that is exactly what this movie can do. It can improve on him and give us a much more classic 616 Spider-Man within the MCU and Sony's Spider Universe. What this movie could also do is bring in those characters from Sony's Spider Universe so they can interact with each other. We can have Tom Holland's Spider-Man interacting with Tom Hardy's Venom, with Morbius, with Carnage. All of that stuff can be brought in, so it's like classic 616, couple of tweaks here and there, and I think 95% of people would be happy, because you can't please everyone, but I think the majority of us Spider-Man fans, especially the hardcore Spider-Man fans, would be a lot more happier if all that Stark tech stuff was removed, that whole Iron Boy Jr. that gets thrown around out there about him, all that stuff could be completely removed, and we get a reboot without a reboot of Spider-Man. And that is what I'm really hoping that this movie, Spider-Man No Way Home, can pull off. Will it happen? I guess we'll have to just wait and see for December 17th when it releases in theaters, I believe, off the top of my head. I think it's December 17th. Hopefully it doesn't get delayed, and hopefully this movie can pull all that stuff off and end up being one of the greatest Spider-Man movies to date, and not a huge disappointment like Star Wars Rise of Skywalker. Anyway, that's my video for today. What are your guys' thoughts on my ideas? Let me know in the comment section down below. Would you like to see something like that? Would you like to see a reboot without an actual reboot? Or would you rather have all that happened previously still be considered canon? He still, everybody knows his identity. He still has all the Stark tech. Do you like that? Or do you want to see a more classic comic book Spider-Man? Once again, let me know in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching this video. Be sure to like this video. Be sure to subscribe to both ELT Network and Amazing Fantasy 15. And until next time, I'm ELT, signing out.